everyone. So I wanted to go over my June budget for 2020. I'm really sleepy right now. It's Friday night and I I just don't feel like filming tomorrow. Usually I film on Saturdays for the videos that I'm going to come up with during the week. I've been trying to stay at posting 2 videos a week. But I don't know, I just want to focus on cleaning my house, running some errands, just try not to be on social media as much. And I know I get a lot more videos when I film bullet journal videos, cash envelopes, but sometimes you just don't want to film certain things because you're feeling a certain way. I haven't seen my boyfriend in about 2 months. I haven't seen my parents in about 2 months. For those of you who don't know, I am a social worker. So I do have to visit people and I have to be extra careful. If I got anyone sick, I just feel too guilty. So I have been staying on my own. And I really don't feel like it's over yet. Even though a lot of businesses have been opening and things like that, we still have to be extra careful. But going on into the video, I did want to go over my June budget, and it's just a lot easier to show you guys my Excel because with Excel it's easier to edit. The math is done for you, and I did switch it up a little bit this month. For Excel, I like to plan out my budgets, and for actually tracking everything, I like to track everything on YNAB. Okay, so going back. So my income is about $18.70 per paycheck. I do get paid on the 15th and the 30th. For the paycheck that I get on the 30th, I budgeted from the 1st to the 15th, and the paycheck that I get on the 15th, I budgeted from the 15th to the 30th or 31st. So pay 1, I estimated to be about $18.70. Pay 2 is $18.70. For a long while, I was doing the 407 or 401k thing with my employer. They matched up to 4%, but since I used a lot of my emergency fund and I got a car loan, I stopped doing that match. Aside from that, they also deduct about 8% or so into a mandatory pension fund. And yeah, after all the deductions and everything, I think I carry long-term disability. I also carry life insurance, mostly because if anything happens to me, I like a little bit of money to be uh, set aside for my parents because they've working class people. They don't have much saved, and they're gonna rely on Social Security if anything. We don't really, in our family, we didn't really have a lot of education when it comes to finances and things like that. I am a first generation immigrant or zero generation. I don't know. I was born in Mexico. But yes, so a lot of the reasons I carry life insurance is because of my parents more so than anything. And this column here, I just wanted to put down to show you guys how I was breaking it down. I really like the percentages type of budgeting. There's the 50-30-20 rule. And I'll go ahead and link some videos down below that explain that rule. Basically, 50% goes to living expenses and 50% goes to needs, 30% goes to wants and fun things, and then 20% goes to savings. So I feel like you could pretty much tailor the percentage rule to your liking. I wanted to make it a little bit more simpler, and I wanted to set aside 60% for daily living expenses, and then 40% towards savings. Now, I do count putting or paying down my debt or my car payment as savings, as kind of like an investment in myself, because yeah, it's an investment in yourself. The more I pay down the car loan, the higher my net worth goes up. Let's see. So I'm going to delete this column because I've explained this part. So again, expenses and then savings. I don't really like this column. I just wanted to show it. Let's just hide it for now. So I divided by the paycheck 1 and paycheck 2 cycles here, and then the total is right here for the month. I really wanted to see the percentages of everything. As you can see, mortgage is pretty high. I understand that, but I'm someone who doesn't really spend a lot of money on other things, so I managed pretty well. I went ahead and got half ahead of my mortgage, if you could say. So now I'm able to divide my mortgage payments in between both checks, as opposed to just paying everything or all the mortgage just with one check. So for the first paycheck, I'm going to be doing $671, and then the second I'll do the other half. For the first paycheck, I'm going to go ahead and cover my phone, which is due on the 14th. This is for 3 lines with T-Mobile. I pay my dad's and my sister's. And first paycheck, I'm going to pay my home alarm, my internet with Spectrum, set aside the whole month's worth of groceries and the whole month's worth of gas. For now, I think if I have anything left over for groceries, I'm just going to put it into my car loan. And if I have anything left over for gas, I will put that into the car maintenance category. So as you can see, the pink part is basically my bills that have a set due date, and those do not change. My green section here is for my variable expenses, but they're still necessities. I still need to always put money in there because we need food, right? And then the blue part is kind of my sinking funds for bills that are going to be due in the future. So those bills aren't going to go away. I definitely have to set aside money for that. So I either put a little bit away or just pay off the whole chunk in 1 month, which I don't really like. So I always put a little bit away. But I'll go over that on paycheck 2 because that's where I'm setting it aside. And then I want to set aside $200 for my emergency fund under the savings category with the first paycheck. And I'm going to be putting a whopping $535.96 towards my car loan, hopefully, if my estimate is correct about my pay. So moving on to paycheck number 2, I'm going to be setting aside the other half of my mortgage with paycheck number 2. Spotify is paycheck number 2 because it's due on the 24th and the warranty is due on the 15th, so I set aside that money with paycheck number 2. With paycheck number 2, I put into my sinking funds $90 in my utilities fund because my utilities are a necessity. They're expenses of daily living, so I included it in my overall expense section of 60% or around there. And usually the reason I set up a sinking fund for that is because my water is due every 2 months and my trash is due every 3 months. And then the other utilities like gas and electricity, they tend to vary, but they don't go up that much. So I just set up a sinking fund for that and grab from there whenever a bill is due, which works out perfectly okay for me for now. And then car insurance, I set aside $105. I do pay for the car insurance every 6 months, so I pay total 6 months in full. And I like to set aside the money for that. And if I didn't, I'd pay for it in the future anyway. So it is a set bill. It's just not something that comes out often, so it is treated almost like a sinking fund. And same thing for car registration. That's once a year, but I want to go ahead and set aside money and not think that I have more money than I really do. Or, I mean, I guess you could choose to focus on debt, and that way, the more debt you pay down, the more interest you save, depending on the kind of debt that you have. So sometimes it might be worth just throwing everything you can, you know, apart from the small emergency fund that I recommend you should have. It's worth putting everything else that you have left over into debt because you save interest on that. And then when the car registration comes due months later, you can, pause a little bit, not pay as much into debt, and just pay that off in 1 month if possible. And you save a lot of interest because you've been tackling your debts and lowering the balances. So that's another way to go about it. But I've tried it before, and it just doesn't feel good not being able to tackle your debt because you have other obligations to meet in a given month. You have to have small victories, like, yeah, I put $100 to debt, $200 to debt. So, yeah, I prefer this method. And as you can see, the totals end up being about 55% of my total income, estimated income. If this section would be 60%, I wouldn't be mad because that's my goal. Daily living expenses, bills, necessities, making it 60%, and then savings 40%. But somehow I worked out the budget to where it's only 55% for expenses, daily expenses, and 44 for savings. So you can't go wrong with that, right? Usually, I also include spending. I was budgeting about $40 to my spending budget. During March, I budgeted $5 and didn't spend a dime, which was awesome. But from here on out, I've decided to just leave zero in spending. If I need some spending money, I'll go ahead and add it $10, $20. It won't be a big deal. Let's see how much it would change if I put $20. So if I added $20 for spending, I would up it to 56% for my expenses. So it wouldn't break the bank. But I decided to just forego the spending category for now, kind of making it like a no spend month. We'll see how it goes. And then moving on to savings, with my first paycheck, I mentioned what my goals are in terms of my savings / investments in myself. And then paycheck number 2, I'll have a lot more to go and save for. So car maintenance $50, medical and dental $20, but I might up medical and dental. I'm not too sure yet. Maybe to $30. Emergency fund another $237 to make it a total of $437 towards my emergency fund, which I think is pretty good. And then $40 to gifts, $40 for giving. Electronics and clothing will stay the same at $10. House maintenance, I was putting aside $100 for house maintenance, but I realized that I have to be realistic with myself. I did buy a house in California. The house is pretty old. It was built in like the 1950s. And right now on Zillow, it's between like $206,000 to like $226,000 in range of its value. So usually for a home that has that type of value, real ideally you're supposed to put away maybe like anywhere from 1 to 3% of the value of the home each month away towards maintenance. And this is a very expensive house for what I got, but it is in California. So I decided to just be realistic, even though it's gonna hurt my other goals like paying off my car payment or buffing up my emergency fund. I wanted to be realistic and just put $200 in there. It is a big amount for home maintenance per month, but hey, I wanted a house, right? So now I have to make sure that I set up myself for success, as they would say. I don't know who they is, but I decided to start putting away 200 for house maintenance. I wasn't going to do that until next year, but I figured, no time like the present to, I don't know, take care of yourself because, yeah, I'm single. living, yeah, I'm not gonna broadcast out my living situation, but that's what it is. Anyway, so for my car payment, I'm gonna do $300 for paycheck 2, and then that would be a total of $835 towards my car payment, bringing it down by a lot. I would say usually my car monthly payment is $298 with 66 cents. I got it memorized, and I will be just adding it to my snowball. So before I was paying $500 to pay off for the replacement of this house's roof. I hope I said it right. And now that I'm done paying that off, I really want to keep setting aside that $500 that I was paying down the other debt with, and set that aside and pay down my car loan. If that's all I do, you guys, is just keep up with the snowball that I have been keeping up with for the last maybe 3 to 4 months, then I will be debt free by next November. And I would also have my emergency fund basically fully funded, because I am still putting a little bit away towards my emergency fund or my peace of mind fund. I have not completely stopped saving for that. If at any point in time I feel more secure, I can always just take a big chunk of what I've managed to set aside in my emergency fund and throw it at the car loan to finish it off, maybe a few months early. But for now, I feel a little safer just saving up some money just in case anything happens with our health. We never know. Even if even if our job is secure, we just never know if we're going to get sick, if our family members will get sick. We just don't know what's going to happen right now. So even though I haven't full on stopped my debt repayment, because I'm kind of okay in the situation that I am in, I still want to set some money aside towards savings in case of an emergency. So I'm kind of doing it half and half. I'm not putting everything towards debt, and I'm not putting everything towards savings. It's just a little bit half and half balance. I'm a Libra. I like balance. But yeah, that was pretty much it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And let me know what you think of this Excel sheet. Is it colorful? Is it beautiful? Is it awesome? Let me know. Anywho, I hope you guys have a great week, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.